Disgraced Prince Harry has emerged from 24 hours of hiding in Birmingham as he drags the British royal family into a new drugs scandal. So here are the images, very carefully released images, shall we say, of Harry just pretending all is okay. And that Charlotte Griffiths, the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, who has been completely vindicated by Justice Nicklin in the slam dunk Daily Mail victory over Prince Harry in court, has revealed that on her first meeting with the then third in line to the throne, Harry produced a white pill, put it on her tongue, and said, "Now I know I can trust you." This revelation comes after both myself and Lady Colin Campbell, who is with me today, have revealed that Harry seems to be becoming increasingly dependent on legal substances. So, Lady C, we're going to get into all of these astonishing revelations about Charlotte Griffiths, including, by the way, comments that she has made about you in this major Daily Mail expose today. But first, can we just talk about the here and now? Because yesterday, Harry was visiting the Chelsea hospital, you know, with the Chelsea pensioners. Meghan was meant to be there. It was meant to be a huge deal. We didn't see one image of him, Lady C. Today in Birmingham, don't seem to be any cameras or any real journalists in there. This guy is clearly struggling through what is now his darkest week. Don't miss a single update on the stories that actually matter. I'm breaking down the news every day, so make sure you subscribe to never miss a beat. Click that subscribe button right now.
Well, of course, Dan. He's facing millions of pounds in costs. I mean,
which he doesn't have.
Which he doesn't have, and which he never had. And he and Meghan both calculated, and let's remember, Harry gave away the game plan for this whole con, this operation, this crookery in spare. Remember, when Archie was born, and Archie was too young for them to accept the Queen's invitation to go up to Balmoral because he couldn't fly that distance. But at the same time, they ended up taking him to the south of France, to Elton John's villa, which is a far greater distance, where Elton John introduced him to David Sherborne. And David Sherborne pointed out to him he had a case, and Harry said that he was going to defend Meghan against the press, blah, 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 blah. So the game plan was orchestrated by David Sherborne with the assistance of Elton John and David Furnish, according to Harry in his book Spare. Let's peg that in reality. Harry is now looking at millions of pounds in costs. Whether he was insured or not, he would only have been insured up to a certain point. And the fact of the matter is, he is looking at millions of pounds in costs. He's also looking at the total ruin of his reputation.
It's gone.
And yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's lucky that Mr. Justice Nicklin has not referred him, or indeed David Sherborne and Anjali Sajani to the police for investigations into criminal activity. I mean, he really should have done it.
And we know that this whole thing obviously came about because of criminals working behind the scenes at Byline Times, who Prince Harry had previously linked up with to try and destroy me. But Lady C, I just want to talk first about the drug revelation, because what is so ironic about this, Lady C, of course, is that it would never have come into the public domain if it weren't for Harry deciding to drag Charlotte Griffiths into court. She was very clear here and outspoken yesterday. She had no intention of kissing and telling or revealing the Facebook messages or talking about this drug moment at all, okay? Until he dragged her into court. He tried to ruin her life. And at that point, she has now released this article. And Lady C, it's a particularly difficult time for Harry to come out and try and deny this, because Justice Nicklin has just said that he found Charlotte Griffiths to be a credible and honest witness. So let me just read from you this astonishing revelation from Charlotte Griffiths today, where she writes, Harry had recently returned from California, where he'd been learning to fly helicopter gunships. I was a 27-year-old trainee journalist working on a gossip column for a very different British institution, the Mail, on Sunday. According to the table plan, the Prince and I were to sit next to each other at dinner. And because Harry was doubtless wary about being introduced to an H&M-clad stranger, he decided to kickstart our relationship by subjecting me to a little test. From his pocket, he removed a small white pill. He then held it up to my face, popped it onto my tongue, and said with a smile, "Now I know I can trust you." Take that white pill he had so brazenly stuck in my mouth, and then here's the important clarification, Lady C, which I discreetly removed and folded into a napkin soon afterwards. It was almost certainly paracetamol rather than something more sinister, but I couldn't be entirely sure. Trying to make small talk over the champagne, I therefore found myself pondering two questions. Had a senior royal just attempted to give me a Class A drug? And as a result, would I remain in possession of my marbles during what was a pretty swanky do, complete with butlers and outside caterers? Now, Lady C, can we just take one moment to think about the extraordinary nature of what Charlotte Griffiths is just revealing? She was a journalist, okay? Now, Harry claims he had no idea. I'm sorry, everyone at that party, Lady C, knew she was a journalist and placed him alongside Charlotte Griffiths in the table plan next to her. So, okay, Harry claims that he didn't know she was a journalist. Do I believe him? No, I don't. But he claims he didn't know. But even if he didn't know, Lady C, this is a 27-year-old young professional woman who he has never met before, who he seems to be feeding with drugs on the moment that they have met in some type of weird, like, sort of attempt to get her on side in this sort of drug-taking circle immediately. It's hugely, hugely grim, and it says a huge amount about the real Prince Harry. If you want more hard-hitting Harry and Meghan coverage like this with the double standards called out, hit subscribe right now and turn on the notifications.
Oh, absolutely. Also, it says an awful lot about Charlotte Griffiths. First of all,
well, she says she didn't take it, Lady C. Are you questioning that?
No, absolutely. But it says a lot about her because A, she didn't take it. B, she kept her mouth shut for however many years. C, she is bending over backwards to get the story past Liz Hartley at the legal department with absolute, and that's absolutely correct. So she says that it was a small tablet and it would have been paracetamol. Paracetamol are never small white tablets. They are relatively large white tablets. So right there, anybody who's ever taken paracetamol will know it cannot have been a paracetamol tablet. That's number one. Number two, she had to have known it wasn't paracetamol because as soon as you put paracetamol on your tongue, it starts to dissolve. So everything is wrong about that. She's being discreet and to get the story across the legal line. You know as well as I do what she's had to do, and she's done it. But there's no doubt in my mind that it cannot have been paracetamol. She knows it wasn't paracetamol. You know it wasn't paracetamol. I know it wasn't paracetamol. And I'm pretty damn sure Harry would never have been taking around paracetamol. So that's the very first thing.
A toxic news scandal has just erupted out of the United Kingdom, permanently shattering what is left of Prince Harry's public credibility. Hot on the heels of his crushing High Court defeat against the Daily Mail, the media group has just launched an absolute nuclear strike. Renowned journalist Charlotte Griffiths has come forward to expose a wild, hidden history with the Duke, unveiling a bizarre incident involving a mysterious white pill placed directly on her tongue. Combined with leaked texts under his fake name, Spike Wells, this explosive exposé has completely disgraced the prince, leaving Meghan Markle utterly mortified as the narrative of the virtuous Duke goes up in flames. If Prince Harry thought losing his multi-million-pound privacy lawsuit against Associated Newspapers was the end of his nightmare, he completely miscalculated. The Daily Mail Group is freshly vindicated by a 436-page High Court judgment, and they are taking no prisoners. To fully grasp the magnitude of this explosion, we have to look at the fierce legal battle that preceded it. During the trial, Prince Harry swore under oath that he had no close or lasting relationship with Charlotte Griffiths, a prominent Mail on Sunday reporter, claiming they had only met briefly. But 48 hours after the judge officially dismissed all 97 of Harry's privacy claims, Griffiths decided to release the receipts. In a spectacular tell-all article, She revealed that she and Harry shared a highly active, flirtatious friendship back in 2011 and 2012. They ran in the exact same aristocratic circles, attended the same weekend shooting parties, and communicated constantly via Facebook and phone. But the defining viral moment of her exposé dates back to a wild December 2011 house party. Griffiths describes an environment where an incredibly unhinged party boy prince brazenly approached her, held out a mystery white pill, and placed it directly onto her tongue. He then looked her straight in the eye and uttered the words, "Now I know I can trust you." While Griffiths notes the pill was almost certainly harmless paracetamol, the framing and the behavior expose a deeply paranoid, testing environment that completely aligns with Harry's wild past. But the white pill is only half the story. Griffiths went on to reveal the digital trail Harry left behind under his infamous Facebook alias, Spike Wells. She detailed flirty, late-night text messages where the prince would invite her over for what he called movie snuggles, using aggressive practical jokes and high society charm to maintain her attention.
She then goes on... She then goes on to say, Lady C...
Stop, Dan, listen.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit agitated. Doria, bring me some weed.
Well...
Or maybe Mickey and Aurora can get some coke for me. That will sort of stop my throat from being so parched.
Some Diet Coke, Lady C. Yeah. Charlotte Griffiths then goes on to write, and again, you're probably correct, Lady C. This is probably in order to get the story across the line legally, but she does go on to write, and it is fair that I share the whole thing. Harry, who chronicled his youthful enthusiasm for recreational drugs in his autobiography Spare, told me with uncharacteristic seriousness that he was unable to indulge in narcotics these days due to the risk of random army drug tests. While others might take cocaine at the clubs, bars and parties he went to, he told me he now took something called creatine. It's a perfectly legal food supplement which is normally mixed with water and drunk by bodybuilders looking for that extra something. When inhaled in powder form, Harriet explained, the stuff provides a burst of energy that keeps one dancing till dawn. I have no idea if he's correct, so please don't try this at home. They also discussed American Girls over dinner, Charlotte Griffiths says. And she writes, interestingly, given the course his life would take, he vigorously defended American women, telling me he believed that while American girls can be glossy, they are much more cerebral than people give them credit for. So what do you make of that, Lady C? The fact that it's almost worse. Can I just be honest about it? It's almost worse if he's not taking the drugs, but he's wanting the women around him so that he can trust them to be off their face on creatine or whatever it happens to be. That's almost worse.
Well, but I don't think she's implying that what he put under her tongue was creatine. I don't think.
No, she's not.
So,
she's saying it's paracetamol.
no.
But you know the point that I'm making, Lady C.
No,
Whatever
absolutely.
he's...
The point you're making is that he wanted them to be pie-eyed while he was ostensibly relatively sober.
Yeah, and I'm saying that doesn't make him a gentleman. So what I'm saying is that even if she is telling the truth, which is that because of his army drug tests, he wasn't able to take illegal substances at that particular time. Even if she's telling the truth, it doesn't make it any better that he's offering things up to women who he's just met. I would argue that is a very unprincely, ungentlemanly thing to do.
Oh, it makes it much worse, Dan.
Yeah.
Because it means that he's in control and sober. Or, well, at least not in sober in terms of drugs, if not drink. While the girls are their level of control has been diminished as a result of the tablets he's placed in their mouths. I mean, the whole thing is seriously decadent. But then, of course, we've always known that Harry was seriously decadent.
Yeah, but if this was someone other than Prince Harry doing this, Lady C, that person would be described as a creep. And as someone not to be trusted.
You can safely describe Harry as not only a creep, but a jerk.
Now, Lady C, at the time, you might remember this, there was a lot of conjecture involving Katie Nichols' book. Now, she was Charlotte Griffiths' boss at the Mail on Sunday at the time. And it was this conjecture about whether Prince Harry had swallowed a goldfish at the wedding of his former nanny, Tiggy Legg Burke. And of course, this allegation had to be removed from the book because Harry denied it. But Charlotte Griffiths reports that his chums thought the whole thing was hilarious and adds the dining room in our country house contained a large aquarium. As we walked past it, a friend joked, "I hope you're not going to swallow another goldfish, Harry." So again, obviously, my reading of this is that it seems like Harry lied again to deny a journalist's claim, and we now have a whole load of track record of him lying, Lady C, from Spare to Netflix to Oprah to court, and lied about it, and his friends thought it was hilarious, and that he seemed to it seems probably true that he had swallowed this goldfish.
Well, certainly the implication from his friends' comments is that he had swallowed the goldfish. He admitted it to them. They knew he'd swallowed the goldfish. And that's the implication of don't swallow another goldfish.
And Harry, now Lady C tries to make a big thing about the fact, he's under threat because of his kill count. He's an Islamist terror threat because he revealed the kill count of the Taliban members who he killed in Spare. But Charlotte Griffiths writes, after lunch, this is on the next day, a little bit hungover, and she writes, after lunch, we all retired to a cinema room. And as it was getting dark by then, we all watched a couple of films. One was an action movie that culminated in Islamic fundamentalists attempting to shoot up the White House, a scene that Harry was particularly affected by. Allahu Akbar, he proclaimed loudly to the room, rolling his eyes. So again, Lady C, look, that's probably just a throwaway line, but it is quite interesting, isn't it, now in the context of him trying to say, I need my security because I'm an Islamist terror threat.
I think he was just being witty and droll, and I think that's perfectly harmless. And I mean, it's a sort of thing I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And he did fight the Taliban. No, I don't have a huge problem with him doing that, I'll be honest. Then there's the whole question, Lady C, and I did ask Charlotte about this yesterday, about whether there was a romance between them, because my suspicion was always that there was, but she denies it, writing, at some point while we were all watching it, Harry shuffled over to my beanbag, got under the blanket, and I was sitting under and put his arm around me. There was nothing particularly romantic about the sweet gesture, although I wasn't physically attracted to him. I felt slightly uncomfortable. I was dating someone else at the time, and besides, he'd kissed another girl the night before, a girl who had turned up for the weekend on the arm of one of his friends. By breakfast, it all seemed to have become part of the previous night's entertainment, and everyone simply laughed it off. So what do you make of that, Lady C?
Well, I will make an observation, Dan, that if they had something, it would have been a passing fling. And if it was a passing fling, especially in the light of all that has happened, she would be very silly to actually acknowledge that there had been anything that had happened between them. So I am not saying that I accept or take with a pinch of salt. I keep an open mind on it.
Yeah, because my read of the messages...
Sorry?
Well, I was just going to say, my read of the messages was that it had been romantic. So because, he was very flirty. He called her Charlotte G-string. He spoke about the cuddle. So I did want to actually put it directly to Charlotte yesterday because you know me, Lady C, I'm very fair. If I've said something, I want people to have the opportunity to respond. So I just want to show you what she said and get your reaction off the back. And I asked Lady C after that whether there had been a romantic relationship between them, and she said no.
Well, a weekend bonk is hardly a romantic relationship. It's a weekend bonk. I'm not saying that they had a weekend bonk, but the way they conducted themselves and continued for quite an extensive period of time thereafter shows that there was certainly a frisson of attraction between them. I mean, she might like to deny it now, but she was right up there with him in responding and in provoking. So I think the only rational reading of the situation is that there was some attraction between them. And, I am sufficiently worldly, and remember, Dan, this is my world that we're speaking about.
Absolutely.
And I know all about people in their 20s.
At aristocratic dinner parties with royals.
At weekend house parties, having a little tryout. And if it doesn't work well, it doesn't work well. That's no big deal. But so whether they actually let's put it this way, whether things came to fruition or not, they certainly started out with the intention of it. There was an attraction there. It's obvious. And I don't knock her for saying now that nothing happened, even if something did happen, because she really needs to maintain her dignity. And it would be really very tacky of her to say, well, actually, we had a roll in the hay and yes, I really didn't think he was any good, or, the train arrived very early at the station, and I'm used to trains arriving a little bit late. And quite frankly, I didn't want to have to take my suitcase off before the doors were even open, sort of thing.
Yeah, and she was very clear that she was embarrassed that these Facebook messages had been released. She had absolutely no intention of releasing them herself. Over many years, she had never considered kissing and telling on Harry in any way. It was only because she needed them, given he was accusing her of phone hacking, which just seems extraordinary.
The sheer volume of these interactions directly contradicts the official statements Harry's legal team submitted to the High Court. Griffiths openly accuses the prince of completely rewriting history in his own head to fit his narrative of media victimization. By proving they had a legitimate, voluntary relationship, she has legally and socially justified the male's historical coverage, exposing Harry's world as incredibly leaky from the inside out. But this sudden blast from the past is causing an absolute emergency inside the walls of Montecito. In just a moment, we are going to expose Meghan Markle's horrified, backstage reaction to these cringe-worthy revelations, and why this ancient party history has ruined Harry's current visa standing. Let's look at why this specific exposé is an absolute catastrophe for the Sussex brand equity. For the past 6 years, Harry and Meghan have sold themselves to corporate America as high-minded, progressive global leaders focused on mental health, digital safety, and moral superiority. Harry's memoir, Spare, was supposed to be his final controlled confession of his wild youth. But this Charlotte Griffiths leak strips away that curated control. It depicts Harry not as a solemn victim of the press, but as a reckless, clownish party animal who actively courted journalists and engaged in deeply questionable behavior for amusement. In cross-examination during the trial, the male's legal team hammered home the point that Harry's inner circle was the true source of media leaks. Griffiths' story proves it. She didn't need to hack Harry's phone to get stories. The prince was putting pills on her tongue and texting her from his couch. This completely destroys his standing as an honest witness, giving critics all the ammunition they need to claim he misled a high court judge under oath. The fallout inside the Sussex household is reportedly reaching a boiling point. Close insiders have leaked that Meghan Markle has read the entire Daily Mail exposé, and she is described as being absolutely mortified and worried sick. Meghan has spent years carefully building a hyper-polished public image, preparing to launch her luxury lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. To have her husband dragged back into the global headlines over crude high-society practical jokes, accidental shootings of pheasants, and bizarre pill stunts is incredibly damaging to her commercial interests. It is cringeworthy, it is unfortunate, and it creates a massive wave of public ridicule. Reports suggest there is immense friction behind closed doors, with Meghan furious that Harry's obsession with a courtroom war has opened the door for the tabloids to legally eviscerate his character with real, undeniable history. The strategic consequences of this media rollout are absolute. By successfully winning the court case, the Daily Mail now has total legal impunity to publish these historical accounts without fear of a libel suit. They are systematically executing a post-verdict media campaign designed to completely finish Harry's reputation in the United Kingdom. Media heavyweights like Dan Wootton and Lady Colin Campbell are leading the charge, pointing out that this white pill framing, regardless of what the pill actually was, plants a devastating seed of doubt in the public consciousness. The narrative has pivoted instantly from a technical legal victory for a newspaper to a massive, public drug scandal that highlights a profound pattern of erratic behavior from the king's youngest son. But the danger doesn't stop at reputational damage. This fresh wave of drug-adjacent headlines is landing right as right-wing legal think tanks in the United States are aggressively challenging Prince Harry's American visa status. In his book Spare, Harry openly admitted to past drug use, which triggered a massive legal battle over whether he lied on his official immigration paperwork. Now, with prominent British journalists going on global television networks to detail incidents where Harry was handling pills and acting erratically at high society parties, the political pressure on U.S. immigration authorities to review his file is mounting rapidly. Harry wanted to destroy the tabloids. Instead, he has given them a legal platform to threaten his very residency in California. The receipts are out, the Spike Wells alias has been exposed, and Prince Harry's courtroom defeat has unleashed a brand new public scandal. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Charlotte Griffiths is right to expose Harry's hypocritical past, or is the Daily Mail using unfair innuendo to permanently trap the prince in his youth? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I'm jumping in right now to read your replies. Make sure to smash that like button if you found this breakdown insightful, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a breaking royal update.